hours arrived. I call this meeting to order. I'm going to ask Mr. Griffin, if you will, give the invocation, please.
Let us pray. Our God and Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to take care of the meeting, take care of our city business. We now ask that you take and look down on us, give us wisdom, give us prudence, give us guidance. Let us take the best decisions we can make for the city and all these things we ask in your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our nation. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, with reference to the agenda, I've just been notified that something has come up in item 2, which is about the census. Ms. Taylor, something's come up, she cannot be here, so we're going to just eliminate that. And on down at item number 13, our K9, our dog, wants to visit us, and he doesn't want to sit through all this entire length, so I've been asked that to accommodate our police dog and move it up to 3A. So other than that change, make 13 3A, I'd like to suggest and request that we make that alternate. Do y'all have any other additions or corrections you'd like to make to the agenda? That's good. Hearing none, then I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda.
Make the motion that we approve the agenda as stated by the mayor.
I hope that's legal.
Second.
All right. At any rate, we think we know which direction we're going in. Motion's been made second that we approve the agenda as it's been somewhat amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. Okay. All right. We're delighted to have a lot of our special personnel group and important people back there, all dressed up and shiny. And so, Chief, where is Chief? How about you take it over with number 1 for us?
Thank y'all for allowing us to be here today, and what we're here for is a ending ceremony for 2 of my department personnel. You know, the thing about any department or any organization, leadership is the foundation of any department. And if you're going to have a great department, you got to have leadership. And it is my responsibility as the chief of this department, I feel, to have that in place for planned succession. Because I'm not going to be here many more years. So, I mean, I'm not leaving today, but I'm not going to be here. I see the end of the tunnel for me. So I feel like it's my responsibility to look for quality people and to look for leadership and people that I can pass that on to. And what I want to do today is ask Captain Hutto and Captain Lewis to come up, please. You both will stand facing me. What this is a pinning ceremony. What I will do is actually I'm going to remove their captain's badge and their collar brace. I asked them not to wear it today, and because I didn't want to get pinned. And get blood all over. Then we get blood all over these white shirts. Actually, I'm going to remove that and pin their deputy chief badge and pins on. Well, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to do this.
Yeah, let's give them a big hand. I couldn't see those things, I wanted to look at them. Well, they're mighty sharp, congratulations. And I know y'all wear them with pride, we're very proud of you.
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't ask for a speech, but I know these two guys, they probably would.
We're real proud of y'all here. Okay.
Speech and a song.
All right, and, we got a pretty full deck here, let's keep moving. Okay, Ms. Katie, you're next. Would you step to that mic right there, please? State your case. Don't be nervous. Just say what you came to say.
On July 30th, I was approached by a customer at the golf course. I'm Katie Hess, by the way. I just recently got married. It was Katie Rubis at the time. He was a regular customer. We had established a really good relationship. He comes in every time he plays golf afterwards, and we sit and chat. He grabbed him a tee out of the cooler, and Tony my supervisor invited him to his office. They talked for a while. He came out, wanted to pay for the tee, and I had already put it on my tab and told him not to worry about it, that I had taken care of it. I wanted to do this as a courtesy for him. He's a great customer. He handed me a $5 bill, and I told him no, that it was taken care of, and he handed it back to me, said for me to keep it, that he might need something one day. I stuck the $5 bill in my pocket. I thought it was a tip. I've received tips on several other occasions at the golf course from customers. And then the next morning, on the 31st, Tony called, my supervisor called me in the office and says that I stole the $5 and terminated me. And that was not the case. I would never take money from anybody or my employer. And if it was not meant for a tip, then it was just a major misunderstanding. And that's why I'm here. I really, really love my job. I take pride in what I do, and I want to continue working.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the lady's case. Any response?
Well, I received the letter, and I was a little, I don't know what I say, confused or whatever. I don't know you, and I'm sorry. As a commissioner, I should know the employee, but I really don't. But there's several things I hadn't talked to the mayor and the council about. In reading these letters, I'm not sure where we stand at. First, I don't like to handle personally employee thing in here. I like to do it in executive session. But there's a question I will propose to my fellow councilman. who has the authority to do firing? Only the council, if I understand it right. You can be suspended by the supervisor or whoever. The council has the termination policy to do that. And the next thing is, I've seen this happening. I think that we guys up here had to get some things together because we have to be the ones to control the employee, whether it's you, excuse me for saying it like this, but I'm just being rude.
Yes, sir.
Whether you, whether the police, whether it's fire, whether it's anybody, the council has to do that. Or else things gonna get out of kill, and that's what I think we got to get on hand. These letters is all right to maybe to address to the mayor so he can inform us, but this is how things get blown out of proportion when it should be us handling it. Now, if I'm wrong, I ask the attorney. It's probably not now, because I'm pretty dense sometimes, to inform me what's the right protocol to handle it.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
the way the policy's set up and everything, the handbook, whatever, the department head, or whatever, they can take and impose disciplinary action, and they can also fire somebody, but then it's up to the council whether it stands or not, and that's something, once we have anything like this, in my opinion, then we need to discuss it before we take and make any decision in executive session, because it is a personnel issue. But the department heads are, they're the ones that make the decision whether to hire or fire, or the policy.
Well, over the years, all the years that I've been here, I thought that they can suspend. And at the next council,
I've seen it done with the council.
at the next council, the final decisions are made. A lot of times, that supervisor will wait, go a long way once they come up, because you got things written up and things to go by that is presented to us. So, I just think that with us up here, I think that the supervisor that's in here and those that's not in here, I think we need to have a clear understanding of who, what, and where this needs to be
I
done.
think we need to go into executive session.
In reference to the personnel manual,
Mhm.
that was something that you've all redone at the end of 2015, or y'all worked on it, it was voted on in January of 2016, which was one of the first few months that I was here. Now, in the personnel manual, it is stated, as Commissioner Griffin stated, okay? It is up to you as the full council and the attorney to go into executive session after an employee appeals the case, okay? But a supervisor does have the right to hire and to fire, okay?
And that's
That's,
in that policy.
that's in that policy, that's what y'all wrote up and put in it, okay? So, but it's, she came to me, she asked me what she needed to do, we looked at the policy, this is what I told her,
You're
okay?
appealing your termination.
Yes, sir, she's
Absolutely.
appealing her termination is what it is.
And
And I told her that it would probably have to go into executive session, okay?
All right, then, so far up to this point, then let's go, we got a lot of things to do, and we want, of course, we want to handle it right, don't get me wrong. But we followed the policy, we've allowed her to come and state her case, then I guess it's at some point, we don't have to do it now, I guess we can do it whenever we get ready, if we got other things as well. Well, the balance of this thing and our decision will have to be handled in the executive session as to, we've met you and heard you explain your case, and we will do just that, and we will get back in touch with you.
I want to commend you for coming forward and expressing your views, but as they stated, the supervisor does have that authority, but the final authority rests on the council, and which has to take place in executive session.
So I won't be allowed in the executive session?
Let me ask you a question.
Not with this, no.
Wednesday
Not
night.
this.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
If the council took action and upheld your appeal, would you be willing to move to another area, or would you want to stay where you are?
I love what I do, but as long as I can keep my job, I don't really care.
Okay, thank you. You know where we're going from there. We'll have, at some point probably tonight, it's not on the bottom,
I would recommend y'all have this at regular meeting in executive session.
okay, that's a good suggestion.
That will be Thursday
Instead of at a work session, I think that's
in
good.
in executive session.
So I need to be here?
There's no need for it.
No,
No,
no.
but what I can do is after the meeting, I will place a telephone call to you, even if it's 8 o'clock at night. Okay?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Y'all be safe.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's move along, we've got a handful. Now we're at 3A, and this involves, Chief, where's our visitor, where's our guest? Chasing the car? Chasing the
Macy, if you would, bring her right here. I apologize for not doing this sooner, but I want to
Excuse
introduce.
me just a minute, Mason, get a little further out, whether you get council, when they get, have and stand and see it, go just a little bit, would you mind moving?
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce you to, this is Zika, and she's our canine, she's a Dutch Shepherd. She is 3?
She'll be 3 in November.
She'll be 3 in November. Macy's had her about
A year.
a year now. She has helped us make several cases. She has, we've used her at the schools, we've used her on traffic stops, we've used her at search warrants. Macy takes care of her. She lives with Macy. Macy takes care of her. She is her master, so to speak. I mean, so when Macy comes to work, the dog comes to work, if she's feeling good. With that being said, and let me say again that I do apologize for not doing this sooner, as far as introducing you to the dog. Let me, I got some stuff I need to show you, and that's your copy, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So if you look at this first page, this is a normal, that's the picture of a normal spine in a dog, okay? You see it's pretty straight. If you look at the second page, that's Zika's spine. They call it sway back, same thing as in a horse. And it's hereditary, there's nothing you can do about it, it's just, so sometimes she can't go. And the vet says it will not get any better. Anyway, some days she can't, it's just like in a human. If they got pinched nerves, that's basically what she's got. Her spine is pinching on her nerves. So, with that being said, we have an investment in this animal. The city's got an investment. We actually purchased her with donations, okay? So, the man who we bought her from has said that he will take her back and give us another animal. And I think I can do that without the council. Well, I purchased her without, with money that wasn't, it's not city funds, it's contributions. So I just want to let you know that we're probably, I'm introducing her to you, and I'm telling you that we're about to try to do something to get another animal. I wish we could keep her. She's one of the best I ever seen. She's very obedient, as you can see, and she is a hard charger. Now I can tell you, she won't. I'm not going to try to mess with Macy, and she's not bite trained, so to speak, but she's not going to let you get real close to her in an aggressive manner.
she will protect. She has got a lot of drive. She will work, and it's gonna be a shame to have to get rid of her, but you know,
But
it is what it is. I mean, she's just not going. She's not going to continue to be what we need her to be.
It will
And that's
get more severe as it goes.
right. Exactly. It's going to
I
get
got an
worse.
animal science degree, and this is, to say rare is not the word.
Yeah, right.
It's extreme rare.
And I mean, right now she seems like she's doing pretty good right now. Today's one of her good days. I've seen it where she couldn't hardly put weight on her back legs.
It'd be different tonight.
So right.
On behalf of the officer that's got her, I think one, Zika's, I can tell is well-trained and she minds and does what Macy says, but I'm quite sure Macy's convinced her that she's supposed to do what she says.
Yeah, she has.
I
She
believe
has.
some of her being obedient, being the master looks after her, and I'm sure you expected that kind of response, and that's what you have to do.
That ain't from you riding her too hard, is it, man?
And you know, for Macy, this has been Macy's partner for a year. So when she come in and told me that the vet had said this, you know, it was pretty rough on her too. You know, when you lose somebody, you know you're gonna lose somebody that's.
No,
That's who we are.
with Macy standing there and armed and all she told me to sit, I'd say it too.
But I just want to go, and let me say this too, and I'll go into this, and maybe I'll have some paperwork this week. If not, we'll have to get it on another time. We're applying for a grant from the federal government to purchase a Chevrolet Tahoe as a K-9 vehicle. And this grant, the paperwork wasn't ready, and I apologize for that. We're still waiting on some forms from Ms. Tammy to get all that paperwork together. But the council would have to vote and say, yes, we agree to apply for this grant, and then the mayor would have to sign on it, and I don't have it ready yet, so we'll have to.
Gentlemen, excuse me, go ahead.
Ken, I think that we said something about a vest that was prepared for her. Will we be able to exchange or?
We don't know yet. Macy's gonna check on that, and,
I have to contact them and talk to them about it, because it was measured to fit her.
right. She did get a vest that is a bulletproof and stab-proof vest. It's really, really hot, so unless we know she's going into a situation, we don't want her to wear it, but, she did it's valued at $900, I think, what it was, $1,000?
It was up in the.
So it was very expensive vest that was donated. They donated it. Macy applied for a grant, and they donated it, so.
Gentlemen, don't y'all think that we could, based upon the fact how he got the dog initially, and how he thinks he can come up with a new one in line with the grant, can't we just generally tell the chief to proceed on the course he's going?
I believe we can, sure.
I'd entertain a motion that we get him to proceed with what he's explained he's trying to do with our K-9 unit, and do I hear that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Bloodworth made the motion, I think Mr. Rainey seconded. And any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Proceed with your.
Do what I was gonna ask.
I said you was in
I just
Go down
think,
quick.
you know, I just wanna know, you said the days that she's not able to come, to work, is that a lot? That's not.
You got that
I think it's getting to be more, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends on how she is whenever I go out to get her and put her in the car. If she's able to run around and walk around without any limping, I'll bring her to work with me.
You can see right out there.
She works about you.
She don't know.
Amazing.
Easy.
You want her to shake
Work
your
your hard to get rid of it.
Okay, we got I think you got what you want.
Yes, sir.
I know I'm not a member of council, but there's a question, and this is a mother, okay? And I know how protective I am of all of y'all as an employee and me being city clerk. They will not put her down with them.
No.
That was my
But if they
best.
were, they worked with it, they
No,
wouldn't have
they're not gonna do that.
She would have come home.
The lady that actually bred her originally wants her back as a pet. So,
Good.
All right, thank you all, that's real good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mason, we appreciate what you do. All right, let's move on. 3A, now we're at 4. Okay, you got your INL service and contract for fire equipment. If you would get it in front of you. Carl and I did some homework today, and if you got, you see this sheet that Ms. Bernice prepared for you? If you get that in front of you, I'd like to go down it with you, and then if y'all got any modifications, y'all can do that. Carl and I went down machine by machine, and I want to commend Ms. Bernice, our clerk, for getting busy and finding out where all these machines are. She went over and above to do that. Now let's start at the top. And the Kubota at the golf course is, we don't want that car, that service. Tony services that vehicle, looks after it, and also mechanics on it as well. So Carl and I are recommending no service on that machine. Anybody opposed to that? I think the best thing to do is not go down. If you've got any opposition, speak up and we can make grade. The next item is not the golf course. It's a Malden motor grader that we bought, the city bought several years ago. We don't use that motor grader very much. It's a good one. I use it some. In fact, initially, either me or Jeff Jones used it. Only ones that had any experience with a motor grader. It is a fine little motor grader, and I'm real proud that we've got it, and we need to use it more. But it is a street machine, so by that, just make your little thing out there and know that it's a street machine. But no more than it's used, we can service that machine ourselves, so we're putting no service on that machine. Any questions or comments?
No.
All right, going to the next item, they've got a 1998 trailer, and if you'll put that, it's a lowboy attached to that Sterling truck, that 201 Sterling truck, and that's a street department vehicle that we use very little. We're going tomorrow probably out to the limb pile and pick up our excavator and move it to a little job we've got to do, but it does very little work. I'd say unless we were to put it on the road to carry a machine somewhere or something, that machine won't move 50 miles in 3 months. So what we're suggesting is that we leave that to our own service, and that and the trailer that it's attached, our lowboy. No on that. Any question on that one? Okay, the next one is recycle, and that machine is worked the heck out of. It's out at recycle, and all of their moving stuff around out there and going to the baler and whatnot. We're about to work that machine to death. We need a new one, but we can't afford one. You'll notice it's a 1994 model, but it does need to stay on the service contract. So would you put yes by that? Any question? Moving on. The next New Holland is a machine that I think I bought it, or we bought it sometime since this last term that I've been here. And that's a machine that we've got a special bucket on at our screen at the treatment plant, where we can now, used to where we were having to dump quite frequently. Now that thing can run all day long and hold it and go to the dumpster and dump. And that machine is used every day. We have to go and dump that, and it's so we want to maintain that on the service agreement, which is yes. You might, I suggest that by that, so that you can keep a record now. By that, I want you to go out and put the sewer treatment screen machine, and you'll know where that machine is located. The next 3 trucks are international old dump trucks. Sometimes if we've got to move a little dirt, we use those things right frequently. We've recently put a new rear end under one of those old trucks. At any rate, no more than we use when we can service and change the oil and handle those, and we're recommended no on all 3 of those little international dump trucks. Any questions about that? All right, let's move on. The next one is the 216 Freightliner, and we're suggesting that it stay on the service contract. The next is a 214 Freightliner. We're saying that it should, these are by the way garbage trucks. The next one is a 211 Freightliner. We suggest that all 3 of those Freightliners stay on the service contract, and they're with the street department. The next one is a 450 bucket truck. But the bucket truck, of course, we used it to trim for the new traffic light going up over there at Miller and 341 at the Dairy Queen. The county uses it to decorate the courthouse at Christmas, and we put up the Christmas lights with it. Other than that, it stays at rest most of the time. And and we're suggesting that that truck, that we not have it, I don't know, some of you out there don't have these service charges that they're talking about. We're talking about anywhere from $150 to $250 a month services, and we're just not gonna put those on there. So the Ford bucket truck is not to be put on there. Going down the line, the four-door Chevrolet service truck, it's all this is water department. That truck is to stay on. The Caterpillar 416F is to stay on. The next Caterpillar, the 313, that's an old one, it's out of the state patrol post. No, excuse me. That's, well, that one or the next one. Those we suggest, but they work every day, and we want to keep them on the service. That's the, we said, the service truck is a four-door truck, and the 1, 2, 3 Caterpillars to stay on the contract. The next one.
Question.
Yes, sir.
On the truck, we're taking the 2012 and leaving it on contract. What type of engine and transmission do we have in that thing?
It's a diesel, it's a diesel 6.6 with a
Duramax?
transmission.
And it's four-door,
Okay.
and it's four-door truck, and sometimes the whole crew's in that thing, and it's got a nice service body on the back too.
And-
So I'm
But
suggesting,
it would warrant us to pay, I don't even know what you're paying, X amount of dollars.
it's right in your folder right there, look at it, somebody right quick,
It
turn it.
tells you that it is $142 a month and everything.
That's oil filters, and another thing too now, this fee, if you look at all these fees these folks are charging, they look a little high, but now let me tell you something, we're a little lucky. I'm gonna brag on this man that does the service work. This man is not just, this man is familiar with electronics, he's familiar with the hydraulics on that's working on some of the other machines. This is a knowledgeable mechanic that's doing this service, and that's worth a lot. So,
It also takes, and just to reiterate what the mayor's saying too, if we don't have it on there and we have to have it serviced or the services or any other kind of maintenance done to it, we get a break on the labor as far as that goes.
If it's under contract.
Right, if it's under contract. If it's not under contract, then we're gonna pay whatever full price is anyway, but.
that's our recommendation. And the next now is the Bobcat that sits down there and very seldom used. We unload stuff with it occasionally at the barn, at the service barn down there. And it's not used a lot. We're saying we're not recommending that, no service contract on that machine. And then the last two Caterpillars, the 3D and the 420, the big one, one's water, and the 211 Caterpillar is, and then the big Caterpillar, the 420E, is the big excavator. And we're staying to put service contracts on that. If you folks will approve that, that man's been calling me every day, wanting the contracts done. I'll sign the contracts on those if y'all tell me to.
We don't have the ability to do the bucket truck, the lift on that?
Yes.
The reason to take care of it up there?
Mayor, while you were doing that, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was actually doing some figuring right here. To give you guys an approximate cost, you're gonna be saving $20,000 a year by removing those.
It's a big savings. And we can, for $20,000, we can handle what's gotta be done. And another thing, well, the bucket truck, we got a man that can do a lot with it right here, that I can hear him in a minute.
As of right now, when the mayor and I were going through this the other day, we were talking about $56,000 a year compared to the figure I just gave you.
Thank you for keeping those running totals. Okay,
I just questioned the 2012, I think it's kind of out of the heat. I don't know if we're gonna spend more to keep it up, or we're gonna spend more in contract.
we can't afford to buy a new one right now, so we better try to keep it running.
I didn't say buy a new one, so we keep it for sale.
Okay, the cost on, you talking about the 3,500, Commissioner Ray? That is 142.15, 51 a month, okay?
And that's per year, 100.
Times 12.
Okay.
All right, the man wants me to sign, I'll sign each of these individual ones that you approve, if you tell me to. The man would like for y'all to approve and authorize me to sign those contracts on those machines right away. He's been waiting on it for, so he's waiting on, when Carl got in the hospital, Carl was trying to get it handled. So at any rate, I would, I know Thursday night's the regular session, but I would appreciate if y'all would authorize me to amend
Make a
those.
motion for the marriage bond contract.
On the ones that we've approved, yes on.
Yes, on the contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Now, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll sign those contracts on those, we'll separate those, get those out. Thank you. All right, let's move along. Okay, Mr. Griffin, you've got fives, Lamig, street striping.
Yeah, I've had several calls, and this has been over the last period of probably the last 2 months, whatever else and everything, since we got the street striping done, and whatever, or, no, since we got the streets paved, they still ain't striping, and they're still, they need to be done. I mean, we paid the man to do this as far as I know, and he's already got the money, but he ain't striped the streets yet that he paid.
Well, he told me when they left, they'd do it in about 2 or 3 weeks. How long has it been? I have no
About 2
idea.
months.
Yeah,
So
it's longer
it's
than
needs to be
that.
longer than that at least.
Been much longer than that.
Is it- well,
I've had questions too.
Okay, well, we need to tell him to get up here and get it done.
Yes, we do. So that's just putting it out there because, like I said, it needs to be done. If something happens on one of those streets, you know who's gonna be held liable if ain't no striping on it, it's gonna be us. So, who was it did it, Jordan? Get a hold of him and tell him to get it done. Or we're gonna come repossess something here.
Okay.
I suggest that we repossess one of the trucks so we can replace the one that we got.
Joey, we're in a council meeting and you're on the speaker. They were questioning,
Let me get this number on where I hear you. I was down here for there.
when are you gonna get the striping on those streets that we paved up here?
I'll talk to the striper tomorrow and see when he's lined up to do it.
When do you think it might be done?
Probably within the week or so, I would think.
Good enough, thank you, buddy.
All right.
Okay, any other questions about that?
No, we're good.
Okay, let's move along, discuss water issues, planning, replacing fire hydrant. Mr. Raymond?
All right, that's got my name by it, and to kind of preface this, we've got some challenges. Our city doesn't have problems, but we do have some challenges at a little higher degree than others. And we all know that we've had some water purification problems, or if you would, some falling out of the iron and the magnesium. But in doing all of this, I've learned a good bit as I took part of the bleeding of the hydrants, etc. And best thing that I can tell you that I learned is that we need to have a plan in action and put it into action to do a maintenance, to be able to get these things that are not working, those things that that we could be liable for.
A regular routine.
And we need to have this as a maintenance plan and to replace and repair all of those things as soon as possible. I'm going to delegate to one man that's much smarter and more knowledgeable in this than I am. If I can, Charles, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, sir. I'm about to hand out a list of all the hydrants that are not, that we have issues with. A lot of them are non-workable, 70-plus hydrants to be run about. Pink is going to be the ones that are critical. Orange is going to be the ones that are right behind that. And then red are going to be the ones that are yellow is going to be the ones that probably can be took care of pretty quick. I will tell you that, we talked about ISO. And I had a good friend of mine that's the chief in the metro area, outside the metro area. He had a grant from ISO about 2 weeks ago, and they come to one hydrant that he had, that they called for, that was non-working. At that point, they requested every single hydrant he had paperwork on it. So, that would put us in trouble, serious trouble, like so. We could possibly lose our Class 4 certification, and go to Class 5 or better or worse, which means everybody's insurance rates will go up in the city. So
Significant.
we've had this problem has been existing and festering for about 10 years or better. It did get better when the mayor was here before. We actually had a company come in and done some work, and we got, I think we replaced 6, and we fixed quite a few. But you got to understand, there's a lot of our hydrants in this city that are old. They're very old, and they're much needed replacing. We got a lot of hydrants that do not even have steamer connections on them. ISO will not, they're not going to give us any credit anymore for those without steamer connections. They're also not going to give us any credit for any hydrants that the residual pressure is 20 or below. And we have quite a few of those that are at that point. So we're going to get no credit for those. The extreme issue we have is downtown, because they are looking at residential. They're looking now at residential, and they're asking you to give them just a snapshot of each area, like all 4 wards of town. I would have to give them a snapshot of, we've done there's a couple here, and a couple here, and a couple here. But they're going to want to know everything in the commercial and industrial area.
So what do we do to fix this?
They've got a plan.
What's that?
I think, Mr. Raymond, you've got a plan.
There is a plan to come in and look at. I was talking today with Carl, and there is a way that we can get about 75 hydrants and start trying to replace this. And I think, Mary, you know about this as well. And we can start working on this. It's something that this is something that we've got to do. We're going to eventually one day, we're going to get, and we're going to lay a hydrant. This has already happened. We have hung a hydrant because we didn't know that hydrant was not working at the time. And we hung a hydrant and it didn't work. Fortunately, I had another truck sitting there, and we were able to do what we need to do. That's not going to happen every time. So we got. I went out back when Miss Creech was here. I bought some hydrant markers that says this hydrant's out of service. We've had some of them things to rot and fall off.
And you're making us look bad now, chief.
I know. I'm just saying we've got to start addressing this. At some point in time, we got to start doing something.
If we don't address this soon, we're going to be caught with our britches down. It's going to be a bad situation.
Didn't Carl come up with a program that we could get it done and get it done a lot quicker, under some kind of program?
We have some things that were suggested as a possibility. And I'm going to entertain a motion to get the ones responsible, engineers or whoever it is, to working on the application to get a loan and or grant to be able to replace or repair the 75 fire hydrants.
I'll say.
Motion been made and seconded.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, this has been ongoing and been brought up 2 years ago, and there was, a lot of this stuff was supposed to have
Already been taken care of.
taken care of, but then it just fell by the wayside due to what? I mean, so we've taken and we're remiss in what we've been needing to do and whatever else, but this needs to happen, and it's needing to happen. It's not one of those things where we can wait till more, but I've said my piece, but that's it.
Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna have time to do it with all that I got on my plate. But between now and Thursday night, Santa Claus is gonna cost us a little bit. Carl and I, he was with me again today, of course I knew that, this is the first year, usually for as long as I can remember, our CDBGs every year is about $500,000 every 2 years. And we've been very lucky in getting those. We had our demographics of our little town met the criteria. The time after time after time, we could get that $500,000 every 2 years, and we worked hard on it. This time, we've got a $750,000 CDBG, and I'm going to tell you, there's probably 20,
It's 22.
yes, we're close, okay.
22.
That's about 20 on that that's gonna come off immediately, that's gonna get us down to 50 or something, whatever.
Okay, well, it's going to take, we done it today, it's not quite that, it's not going, because there's not, all these are not in that area, so it's not going to take, but it's going to probably drop us, it's probably going to drop about 12 of those off over there when we put these 22 in, because there's additional ones as well, there's replacement, and there's additional ones over there.
Well, I'm gonna look at that CDBG that's fixed to happen, you know, it's already done, we've already got our money, everything, it's coming. I'm gonna get those off the list if I possibly can. May have to beg you forgiveness, but I think I can handle it between now and Thursday night. And I'll get those off of this list so that we'll have a more accurate list to,
Charles, when they pull it, are they serviceable?
well, we're gonna find that out. When we pull them,
Well,
you
some-
talk to them, you wanna explain what we're gonna try to do about, well, let me go ahead.
Talking about
Ron.
pulling the sample.
Yeah, what we're gonna try to do is, we'll get these off, and then we want to invest, where we get the money right now, I don't know. But we want to invest in, say, maybe 5 brand-new fire hydrants sitting in our shop, sitting up there at attention ready. And then we want to send our crew to work, and go to these works, pull that fire hydrant out, we'll see we've got to get the water off, if we don't know where the valves are, we got a heck of a problem. And just take that hydrant up and put a new one in its place, and take that one to the shop in the service department. And if it can be repaired and utilized, we'll put it back in service somewhere else. If it's an old hydrant, we may want to put it in a place where it's least apt to be used or something. So that maybe we can refurbish some, and the ones we can't, we can junk them. But at least we've got to have a system that I think Mr. Ramey's been working on.
Some of those things are simple, but there again, there are some that we've got to do something with, completely replace, and then again, we also have got to put in some valves where that we don't worry about shutting down the whole city just to check out or change a fire hydrant.
Well, me and Carl talked about it. He was talking about a crew coming in here to do cut-in valves. They don't ever cut the water off
Yeah.
to put them in.
Yeah, that's right, he was talking to us, when we met today, because I know Mr. Ramey has been asked to do that, and we met today and talked about it, and Carl was telling us that they could come in and put the valves in, that actually, they could actually put the hydrant in without even cutting the water off.
We do a lot of that. I see a lot of that going on. That is the nastiest mess you've ever seen in your life, to be in a hole, fighting that much water trying to do that.
No, they put a cut-in valve. They put a valve on it that's in line,
Yeah.
and it stops the water. They just get right in there and put the
Well,
valve.
that's what, but he's saying that they're
It's
not.
like a dispersion valve goes in and.
Oh, yeah.
Then it blocks.
How much more expensive are those than regular valves?
I don't know, he's got, he
A regular,
has,
a regular 6, I can tell you this, a regular 6 and 8 inches, a little bit more maybe, you're talking about anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a piece for every one of those valves that you talk about at a fire hydrant. So, of course, now maybe we can put one of those $1,500 or $1,800 cut-off valves, and it'll kill. But the thing we've got, gentlemen, and I think y'all know this, it was a good practice, there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody tried to loop the line. They'd go down here and they said, let's loop it tight back in over here. Well, when you cut the water off here, it's coming, it just can't, what, you know what that does? That dirties your water, because your water's been running this way, and then you cut this off and start running it back the other way, you're washing all that junk off in your water.
Back
So
in
when you
the
talk about mess, we've got it.
Well, the motion was just to get started with the application process to be able to get loan or grant, and to see if we can get the application process underway for those hydrants.
Any further discussion? You done all? Pardon?
What is this hard to open?
it means that it takes about 2 of us, at least of us, or a cheater bar to get it open.
But it works, it's just hard to get it open.
You can get the cheetah bar, it takes you longer to do it, and.
See, I'm
some
the
of it's
I'm
risk,
the odd man
it's
out
right on the
here.
back.
But we got to do that. We'll talk later on, you and I, because we have addressed this. We got them all together one time, and now we've done something that let them got back like this. You got to have the system in place, as y'all say, to take care of it. We done this 2 or 3 times in my administration here.
Well,
So, if, once you get it, either the fire and the water, if they can't do it on their own, you gotta have somebody certified to take care of this.
Well, we did that back in, several years ago, let's see, about 12 years ago. We hired a crew and going hydrant to hydrant, and they were good mechanics too. They knew how to, use WD-40 and something else that they used, but they used the right kind of salt and loosen them. And we worked on a lot of them. We've gone through, you're right, we've done this before. But we've got to do it again. Okay, any
You're
further
absolutely
discussion?
right, that we've got to quit talking and be able to get it done.
Yes, sir, we've got to move along. Any further discussion? Jimmy, hearing none, call for vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we start the process. I thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, let's move on. Mr. Attorney, you got a fire ordinance ready for us?
I will have it Thursday night. I met with Brian and we ironed out some few last details today. And I'll give that to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
A copy of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ramey, I know we're teaming up on you, but this backflow prevention valves and for the benefit of what I think everybody here already knows this, but maybe not. When you've got a sprinkler system or a big company that's got a lot of steel pipes and all these sprinklers and it sits there and never used, they accumulate a lot of rust and contaminants, and then the fire prevention people have to come in and put pressure on it and use it, and it stirs up a bunch of mess. They sometimes, that nasty filth, if you don't have a check valve, that nasty flushing all will get back in your citizens' drinking water. And they have to have a check valve so that water that's coming into their plant won't go back. And what we're wanting to do is get an ordinance that would require anybody with an automatic sprinkler system that's subject to this. And by the way, Hazlehurst Mills already has one. It's already in place there. So at any rate, we want an ordinance so that it would require anybody that's going to use a sprinkler system, for instance, the new ones going out of the sawmill, they need to be required to put in one of these backflow check valves to make sure that contaminated water doesn't get back in our water system.
I've just got this information tonight and I'll do my best to have one Thursday night. Can't promise you I've got to read this thing and understand it, but I'll do my best.
Mayor, right before I left there, I got a call from EPD, and he's wanting a list of all our industries, or all
Who
our
does?
EPD.
Oh,
He's wanting a list of all our industries or anything that would require it, and he said he wouldn't as far as saying people with pools and all too, but I think that's a little extreme right now, but any possible sources of backflow contamination.
Well, okay, all right. We've got that working. I guess we have the attorney said he's going to work on it. All right, let's move on.
I'm also referring this one to our attorney too, that the school resource officer, I think that comes.
That's number 9, the next item, by the way.
The next one would be.
That was the one Ms. Bennett's working on. She had got it to Buck Elder, and Buck talked with me last week, and evidently the city had proposed some changes to it. I wasn't familiar with Buck. They said the school is accepted what Ms. Bennett sent, and I think I sent that to you. So we'll have that Thursday night. Did I send it to you?
Yes.
I sent it to you tomorrow. We did have it.
Okay.
Well, now let me say this, I'm satisfied, I don't want any less than what we got now.
It's not any less. I think we're in a better position. And I wasn't involved in that. I know there was some discussion about some changes, but the changes were going to be in our favor if they were made.
Because when all this taking place, we have a little trouble. Our staff is small here, and I'm not blaming anybody, but with us providing 2 officers over there, when the school, we enforce this service through the Board of Education. I got with Ms. Vernice, and she and I set up a billing system, and she's right there with the payroll. So when the payroll's finished for those weeks and what, she and I are getting them an invoice, and they sending us our money. And I like it, and I don't want it changed.
Well, a while ago, I haven't seen the contract, but I did speak with the chief, and the chief says that he didn't see any major changes in the city part of it. He saw one change, which was actually positive for the school systems, for the sheriffs, as they said they were going to make sure they had deputies at all of the away ball games.
Okay, we're going, everybody satisfied that we've got that working?
Yes.
All right, good, let's move on. Number 10, Ms. Bloodworth.
received a complaint from a citizen numerous times about the stop signs that are at Walnut and Curry Street, which I have been over there too, and they're very confusing. The yield signs and stop signs are everywhere. I talked to Mr. Neil Doverly, and he said he believed the city is the one who voted to put those stop signs in. And he said when he comes over here and checks on the new overpass that they're doing, that he finds it very confusing himself and really doesn't know how to maneuver through it safely. So my question is, from the citizen, can some of those stop signs be removed?
Well, if you remember, y'all delegated to me, we were talking about it just like we are now. And traffic control, and when I brought, y'all delegated to me to get to solve the problem. And I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get traffic control engineers with the Georgia Department of Transportation to handle as far as professional people. I've done that. They've come up and looked at this thing with a railroad track going east and west, a railroad going north and south, and the mess we got. He said, boy, y'all do have a mess, don't you? He said, we're going to have to sit down and study this. He said, I'll get you drawn up a plan that will work. So I've got the professional traffic people to come on site in those streets and tell me they're going to provide us for something. If y'all want to supersede that and go in and do something, do it. But I've done what y'all asked me to do, and I'm waiting on the results.
May I interject something? Carl Leggett, Public Works Director, met in my office today, as he did with quite a few of you all. When he looked at the agenda, he had made a telephone call to Jeff Jones and gotten with Conrad. Those stop signs were installed by the railroad.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it was, I've been told that it was a railroad put them in.
It is.
It is the railroad.
I don't think they even asked the city.
All right, let me tell you what the engineers told me when he was there. He said, I mentioned it, who put it up, who suggested it? He said, Mayor, the railroad requires a yield on both sides of the railroad. I don't care where you go to across from the railroad, you're supposed to, it's got a yield sign, and maybe they put a stop sign, but they've got the right of way. He said, all the yield signs, I can do nothing about it. He said, at every railroad crossing, you've got that, and that's a federal law or something. And that's what he told me. So the stop signs, he says, was within our jurisdiction to find out what's the safe way to go. But he says on either side of the railroad, the yield signs are going to have to stay.
I noticed since this came up, looking at it, you see yield signs at every crossing, but it used to be years ago, stop signs, always stop, look, and listen. Now I reckon it's kind of look and see if you make it. That's what yield is.
Well, we needed to laugh, that's good. But anyway, he told me that they're at every crossing now. But anyway, I think we need to let the professionals come up with us a plan and let me lay it in your lap here and let you look at it. That's what I'm suggesting again. Let's move on. I think we're doing good. Well, now, number 11, Alderman Hall, right away 341 intersection. Okay, Mr. Bloodworth.
Mr. McPherson has complained again about that street. There are no turn, when you approach 341, there are no turn lanes for trucks. And then the traffic coming back in from 341, the issue of the traffic devices come back up. I explained to her, or had explained to her, that we were working on a light for that intersection. So if you could update me on that,
I'll update you. We got them in here, and they sit out there. Mr. Ramey witnessed how long I did. They made the count. I got in touch with them, and they said, unfortunately, Mayor, it does not meet the criteria for a signal light.
okay.
What?
That's what they told us.
That's exactly what they said. It does not meet the criteria. Now then, here again, wishful thinking, maybe. There is a restaurant looking at that corner. With the restaurant coming in and the additional traffic, and with what happened, in fact, they even told me this in Jessup. I said, well, I've got a restaurant looking at that intersection as well. They told me, said, well, if the restaurant and the engineers that have got that thing approved, if they take their account and include their data, most likely it will fit. So your best chances, And we don't need another hot dog stand in town. We need something where the civic club and all can meet. And, so at any rate, that's where that is. Does that satisfy you, Mr. Bloodworth?
Yes.
That's not good, but that's all I know. All right, I apologize for, you could get your letter from Mr. Travel. You know where the, going right down Crow Marty here, you know, Church Street and then the old Pentecostal white church building on the corner there? Does everybody, I'm talking about going right down this street, I know where you're trying to go into.
You're talking about where you paved alley behind the church there.
That's correct.
Okay.
Before you get to the alley, I'm talking about the church. Okay, right there at Church Street, several years ago, 12 or so years ago, we were doing a CDB project back in there, doing some drainage back in that area, and they were coming up there to Crow Marty and stopped the drain line, and across the street was mud puddles, water everywhere. So I managed to get the engineers then to modify it and bore across Crow Marty to the corner of that. If this is the church lot, and here's the road, and here's the church there, that white building. Right there on that corner, I got them to bore across and put that water line, that drain line down right there on the corner. Looking ahead, that someday we will have to get rid of all this water back in there. So we ran it across, and there's a drain right there in the block. All right, then we got lucky, if you remember, and we had some leftover asphalt in some kind of project, and Santa Claus came and saw us, and we got that alley paved at no cost, since it was a church and we had some funds left over. I remember there was a little confusion about that since I owned some property for about halfway up that alley. Everybody thought I was looking after Bain, and I guess I ought to more, but I wasn't looking after Bain. I knew that the church, the two houses were in there, the Trowell property, the Wilson property. All of that was an area, there was absolutely no storm drain in there. So out of taking a little initiative myself, and I have no apologies for it, I knew what I had done to get across Crow Marty. When I started paving that alley at my street, I went to the lowest hole up there where water sits and everybody's dry and all. And we had me, Jeff Jones found a piece of 24-inch pipe down there. And we dug us a trench across the alley and put us a 24-inch pipe across there. Now there's a 24-inch pipe there at that low spot. I put paper and plastic, everything at both ends and sealed it up good. One day we can do it, drain and run the pipes. It's hard. I wish I had that thing going so I could show you up there that we're supposed to be getting going pretty soon. But what we've done is put a pipe across the alley, and we've got a pipe across Crow Marty, and with 300 feet of 24-inch pipe, we can go from the street corner out to the alley, up the edge of the alley to where I put the pipe under the alley. Then we've got that pipe there going across, and then put a little bit more that gets up to Travel's lot down there. And at any rate, we can, with 300 foot of pipe, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drop inlets at about $500 a piece. The 300 feet of pipe cost $5,500. The 5 drop inlets for $500 a piece, 25, so that's $8,000. That's just material. That's not us taking our excavator and time and going out there with Conrad or whoever we put on it and put it in. But that storm drain project can be handled for about $8,000, $5,500 for the pipe and $2,500 for the drop inlets to drain that area, and he's draining bad. Now the thing for y'all to remember that I own a piece of property there that I've got leased to State Farm. We've got a State Farm agent in there, and so y'all remember that I always try to stay away from anything that's going to benefit me. That's the story. If you got anything you want to say about it, now speak up or forever hold your peace or whatever you want to do.
What kind of time frame you looking at doing this? mean,
I hadn't had a time frame. He came to me about it.
Right, well, they came to me and I wasn't sure because it happened on your first watch when you was in here, so I didn't know, that's why I seen it to you.
Well, I've made preparation that it can be handled, and as we did that CDBG project, I got that part of it, before I let the alley get paid, I got that under there, so it's ready for it. But now, it's like I say, it's gonna benefit, I've got a piece of property in there too. So, I reckon we can just put a dam around mine and just make it more stay on mine, I reckon.
But we can all put it back, we can just run it back over here, how about that?
Dig a pond.
That's pretty good.
We
need a Dale fish pond, all right?
as long as you're stocked,
I'll see about getting it stocked if you'll get it in there, and then we'll all go fishing.
I don't have any, Mr. Trowell came to me, and I said, look, I've made plans for it, Marcus, trying someday to get that done, but the only thing I can tell you is write a letter to the council and put it in their hands.
We have the money to do this?
No, sir.
No, not right now, we don't. I mean, it's something that needs to be done, and I mean, I know that for a fact. It needs to be done because it's there to be done with. But it needs to be done, but we just don't have it right at this point.
We don't have the money.
That's it. I mean, now,
Well,
that's, I think we'll have to push it until we actually have the money and everything, but I think it still needs to be done regardless.
Okay, let me do this too. Now, another thing too, while I'm telling you that I've got property there. There are 1, 2, 3 people out there that's in bad shape. Marcus is one of them. That alley going all up behind his building is a pure natural pond. I don't have that problem. My people can come in and out. It's wet as heck back there, son. But, so I'm not the wheel squeaking the loudest. There's 3 other people. One drive that the water goes all the way up to the house, inside the carport almost. A lot of times it's really wet back. So it needs doing for your citizens that own property and not your mayor. But the other thing, let me finish now, because we've gone long enough. I think I see the ability sometime in the future, we do this with our splosh funds, that we'll get along to the point that we can take our street splosh, and I can come in and tell you all, I think maybe we might squeeze this in, and you can do it, or whatever. Okay, y'all know more, as much or more than I do now, what you want to do?
Let's wait till we have the funds available and get it done. I mean, that's what we're gonna have to do.
All right.
I echo that.
Okay, I'll notify him that we brought it up, and at our first available time, when we've got funds, we're gonna try to handle it. Okay, we've already handled the K-9 unit, we moved it up. All right, we've got a bunch of training. I'll tell you what, we ought to be an educated bunch around here. It beats all for cost for training I've ever seen in my life. If you look at your second page over there, I'm even in it, and this is guilty as everybody else.
I expect to have a PhD when I get through with all this.
You won't.
All right, let's take and y'all study this, and if you got any suggestions or anything about it, let's come to, this is still a work session, but I want you to look at your various, page 2 of the training, and we'll handle this Thursday night. All right, let's move on to the water and sewer adjustments. Will be, what time is it? Pulls that out, doing pretty good, handle this work, Lou. Water and sewer adjustment will be handled Thursday night, report to the council. Review of the checklist, all that'll be handled in. All right, what's, that economic development tree, that's what Andrea Taylor wants us to commit to.
Take that paperwork that I put in your packets, please review it. I do know that Chief Williams has signed up to go. I need to know who may be interested so that I can submit this to the chamber. And you see the deadline, return by September 8th.
And return by September 8th, I've just mentioned, you missed what I was fixing to do. I was saying we'd handle it at the September meeting, but you said we're gonna have to handle it, oh my goodness. What? When is the work, somebody's got the calendar, when is the work session in September?
It's
The
12 or something.
it's the 16.
Well, we got this long before.
Yep.
Well, I guess that y'all better get your act together. If we gonna follow the rules and abide by the rules, we better make up our mind next Thursday night what we're gonna do and who's gonna do what. So get ready for that Thursday night. All right, let's go to number 19, information, practical guide to state laws, audits of local government officials.
Okay. I received an email from Carl Winston Institute of Government. This is the first time that this has been happened. I sent out with your packets a thick blue book, a practical guide, okay, for auditors and local government. As you all know, you've got paperwork in front of you right now, which is a draft for the final audit. You can take that book. If you've got any questions, there's a question and answer section in there.
What's the date of that?
What's that?
The date of this? Or is it just?
No, it's just information only. It's that book right there.
Okay, all right.
Okay? So basically, this is for you all as mayor and council for your records.
So there's no session to
No.
go over anything?
No.
Okay, that's just how to utilize this?
There you go.
Okay, all right, good enough. Okay, we've got that, I understand that. I thought maybe there's a session, briefly or something on that. Okay, all right, now there's 2 or 3 other things that I've got to get to you, gentlemen. I'm sorry, it's gonna take just another minute or two. I'll take just another minute or two, but I think considering the load we've handled, we've done pretty good.
Pretty good load.
Pretty good load, and I think we've handled it well. This is a little tough situation I'm fixing to hand you here now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Take time to read this. It won't take you but a minute, it's short. Everybody ready? When I got this, my jaw dropped. I came to you folks with exactly, and of course, now this is from Phil Gerald, and Phil Gerald and I have been friends for, well, probably about 40 years. I've known him, and I consider him a good friend. When they called me out there, y'all remember, I came out here and told y'all everything that transpired. He called me out there, they were fixing to spend they said first $500,000, and then they came up and Andre and them said that was going to cost us $750,000 to build an on-ground water tank, to build a pump, to be able to, this $50–60 million sprinkler system that we've got to store enough water, put 60 PSI, pounds per square inch, on this system, and it's got to run at least an hour. Well, they got to figuring out what it was costing, so they called back out there. And sitting out there, I said, well, the field was sitting right over there somewhere, about the second row, maybe the third row there. He didn't say a blooming word when everybody backed out, and the commissioners all sitting, county commissioners sitting all over here. Well, if he'd have chimed with them, but he told me, he said, I'll tell you what, Mayor, we found out, by the way, that at the time that we were looking at this 12-inch water line out there, it was $750,000 to run it out there. He said, I'll tell you, Mayor, he said, I'll tell you what we can do, if the county won't help you, we'll pay $350,000 to give the city $350,000 if you put it out there. Well, Andre had already said that she could apply for a grant for $350,000. I said, heck, if Andre can get a grant for $350,000, and he'll give $350,000, it's cost $750,000 that. I said, I think I get the council to approve that. And y'all did. And that's what I came and told you. When I got this, and it says here Thursday, but I don't think I saw this thing on Friday morning. But at any rate, when I saw this, they're gonna loan us $250,000. And I don't like this at all. And to tell you the truth, I didn't do it, and I wouldn't do it till I talked to y'all about it. But I'm fixing to go sit down with my friend and tell him, now, this is not what you agreed on. If you can't follow up with your agreement, what you agreed to do, we've bitten off a whole bunch here, and I'm not in favor of it, and I'm ready to put a stop to it.
Mayor, I too, am in agreement with that. The grant that they're talking about is still pending, it's still a big maybe.
That's right.
We don't know. I would tell them right now, point blank, if they can't do what they said they'd do, pull the plug.
Put it in writing.
Huh?
Put it in writing.
Yes, sir.
And
Put it in
put
writing.
this time.
Well,
Then they can't pull.
it really upset me, and I waited till then, you were fixing it, I said, I'm gonna put it together, I've come and told what y'all do. Now, I know I hadn't talked to them, but now here's another thing too, that makes me so mad. I was about to get over a mess spell, I'm about to get it back. You remember when we came in here, they had gotten a grant to run them up. It's so hard to explain, I wish we had, but please, let's get that thing fixed so that we
You're
can.
gonna have to hold off, I'm running out of CD too. Sorry.
I'm sorry. It won't take me just another minute to consider one we've had to handle an hour and 15 minutes is pretty good. Let me know when you're ready.
I've got to let it edit and then put this in. Sorry.
How long is that gonna take?
I can't miss none of this. Just take it to freezer. I'm sorry.
I'm ready to go on.
I am too.
I like to stand up, speak up, and shout. Yeah, I'm not here, but yeah, that's not too important.
No, this is coming
Just a
from.
minute. It's
Oh, is it?
about 30 seconds. Then I got
Oh, I thought it
I'm going to class tomorrow.
Oh, okay. You absolutely. Hey, why is she holding up progress, honey?
Mayor, y'all been going for 80 minutes. I can tell y'all how long y'all go. That's how long my CDs are.
I had it about wrapped up, but when you put the brakes on.
Sorry.
Our police dog, we had up there, we talked about it, that was a sad thing.
That is sad, isn't it? See the dog and that.
I raised a bunch of dogs, police use them.
No.
That's what they're-
Y'all the ones that purchased this.
I wouldn't recommend that. Oh, I thought you should have kept, oh, no, if I keep pressing this one.
Mayor, if we pull the line from North William Street, pull it out from Covington, you got a highway. Can't we pull from two sources that way, and then up the our line out where you got the highway?
You can't be doing that. Can't be doing that.
I'm just sitting here thinking how to get more pressure out that way.
Okay, we back in recording business here. Back to when I first came back in here, they'd gotten approved the, going out to J. Young Road, when you get to the back of the golf course, where you go into our sewer treatment plant, right up the road, there's a dirt road that goes over to Uvalde Highway. There was no water line going out the Young Road on out and crossing that railroad track at the other side of the sawmill. You got a $300 and something thousand grant, somebody did, economic EIP, yeah, was that it? EIP grant, to run an 8-inch line and to loop that, and just like we talked earlier, they found out, and it is an engineering plus, to loop these lines. So they had gotten it approved, and they had an 8-inch line going this way. We're gonna start right there and hook on, and we're gonna go an 8-inch line out there that would help them with their fire protection. That was what, 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago? 4 years ago, something. At any rate, but when I got there and looked at it, I already knew, with our experience that we've been working on, that that wasn't adequate. I knew, so I asked the council, if y'all remember, if you go back, it's in the minutes, if you go back and look at it, I said, gentlemen, we've already got, the contract has been let. But the only thing that will change, if I want to change that 8-inch pipe to a 12-inch pipe, and y'all approved it. Y'all approved it right in here, y'all went along with it. So the city, paid the additional cost from an 8-inch pipe to a 12-inch pipe. The other contract was all paid for. But we absorbed that cost to go ahead and get them a 12-inch pipe almost a little over a half mile. So that now with what we're doing, we're coming and hooking onto that. So that was, we planned ahead and got that laid down there. Now for us, the city, to do what we're doing, to plan and bite off that, and then come and do this, and the county not helping and all that, and then come do what they've done right here, it's got me kind of PO'd.
Point of clarity there, what are we hooking on to? Are we going to a 6-inch line that you're hooking to?
Where?
Or is it going to, back to a 12-inch line that you said we'd go hook on to?
Where? Out there?
Where you were just talking about?
Well, I put a 12-inch line there,
Yeah, but that's, so we're gonna be hooking to a 12.
and we're hooking to a 12 over here.
What's feeding that?
Huh?
What's feeding
A
that?
12-inch line from our well.
Okay. So it stays 12.
It's a solid 12-inch from the Baxley Highway well.
That's what it
out
should
there,
be.
12 all the way, and I put that 12 in there 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, and now we're hooking on to it, and with us to do all that, and them come here with this, they can kiss my foot.
That wasn't exactly what I was thinking about.
That wasn't exactly what I was thinking about either. All right, now then, just another minute. What is this? What? Oh. I'm
You told me
tired.
to remind you.
Yeah. Rising Industries is the one that builds trailers back over here behind Jay McPherson's building. Y'all know where they build the trailers back there? They've, when we put that thing, when I worked like heck having to clean that mess up back there. But, I would give you 2 cents for that thing working, and that's gonna be, as many trailer manufacturers they are, you know, there's a big one just outside of Baxley. Those people are doing exceptionally well. I mean, real well. In fact, so good that they're going out here on the Douglas Highway, out where the irrigation system in the tech school is, and they want to build a big new facility out there. And they want to put in a sprinkler system, and they need a 12-inch water line. And now here again, our city limits is right here at Mena, and we already running fire hydrants and water, and even sewer. We got sewer all the way out to that tech school, that's on it. We're crazy as heck to, right here be a little old town and run all these services everywhere. But anyway, we've done the best we could to serve, and we're gonna continue to do that, I'm sure, if we can.
Can't we find a spot in the city to build them a building?
What?
Can't we find a piece of land in the city somewhere to build them a building?
Well, this has just been through those schools I give them to us.
This came in today,
At 8 o'clock this morning.
yes,
At 8 o'clock this
we
morning.
received this. and
So
I
this
think
is,
we
this,
put it in here for
but
the-
now here again now, she did come up here and call me or something a day or two, I sort of laughed, and then I saw this morning. She said, Mayor, I can get a grant to do it with. I said, well, you can get a grant, we probably might do it. So at any rate, that's all I know about that. Right now, I've got more than I can shoot with this other thing. One more thing, and we'll get gone from here. Y'all know what a mess we've been in with our audit. Our auditor, at the very last minute, told us that he wouldn't be able to handle all of it. We got in a mad search to find one, and we found one in Valdosta, New York. We hired them. We did, all of us, we hired them. They came here, they drove around like they never got here. And when they finally got here, it went on and on and on and on. And we were about to have a stroke because not having an audit in Atlanta put us on the black sheet list with any federal monies at all, and without the audit being there. But that's, we just about got that corrected now. But we got the preliminary data and the draft of the audit and a full explanation that you've got in your hands. I know that this is a work session, but now let me tell you something. And by the way, now, I've gone over it. I've looked at it. I was real unhappy about one particular thing, and when I got through, even the auditors went by, and I said, well, Vern, you folks are pretty smart. Y'all know exactly why that happened. And they explained it well. I got also in touch with our accountant, and I had a long conversation with her. She said, Mayor, I am delighted at what I've looked at. And I think that they were thoughtful enough not only to point out where there were some overruns and things, but how it was handled, the proper adjustments were made. And she said, I'm just thrilled to death. That's exactly what Tammy Metz told me today. Gentlemen, I'd ask you to wait till Thursday night this is a work session, but our attorneys told us we can't do this. We need this thing in Atlanta bad. We got money that's supposed to be coming this way. Our accountant, I've looked at it, everybody that, this is we've got a clean slate. We got the best audit we've ever had, the most detailed, thorough audit that's ever been made in the city of Hazlehurst since I've been here. I'm going to ask you all to approve, to authorize me to sign this draft and send it to them so that we can expedite getting this audit to Atlanta.
Can we at least look at it?
You got it?
Yeah,
They didn't get it till today,
We got it tonight.
remember?
You didn't give them the same thing that I got right here?
Yeah.
Today?
But today. This didn't come in until after we had already sent out the packages Friday.
Yeah, we just got it this morning.
I mean,
Well, I read it all today.
No, we got it this morning.
they
Yeah, well,
didn't, no. Remember, this come in Friday
all right, you know, I'm
afternoon.
not,
Yeah.
I'm not about the folks.
So this was in here, you said, let's place this in here this afternoon. They would get it and review it, and we did
Oh, you
it
mean they
Thursday
didn't have
night.
it till they got here
No,
tonight?
sir, it did not come in until,
I can't ask you to do it, I apologize for making such a request. I thought you had it on day like I did.
with
I
the,
mean, I just like to look at it.
Absolutely, I apologize for even asking you to without looking at it, I don't do that. But here's the thing I want to tell you, I don't want any thing to hesitate 1 minute getting this thing to the Department of Audits in Atlanta. And your accountant, and I've looked over it, but I won't stop.
Mayor, will it expedite things if you just poll us? Can that be done?
Okay, yeah, well, let me ask you this, would this be, I apologize now for doing.
Is that legal?
I thought.
I read the audit. I read it.
Here's the thing I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you, contingent upon any negative thing that you might want to have. I'd like for you to call me sometime tomorrow, let me send this thing on and get it moved. Because let me tell you what, it's going to, if we don't move, it's got to take some time in Atlanta. Y'all know that.
It's important.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
okay, Mr. Attorney and Mr. Patrol, get this worked out so you can give me the okay, unless y'all call and tell me no, 5 o'clock tomorrow that I can sign this
Yeah,
thing.
if I,
Yeah, will that work?
That's fine with me, because I'm gonna go over to.
Work it out. What'd I do?
I'll know something by 8 o'clock in the morning if.
I don't know that you can do that.
I don't do. So I'm gonna paddle the ball off to you again.
I don't think it's provisional polling, because it'd be like, you gotta have a meeting. You know, and if it's a call, then you gotta have notice.
Yeah, but let me tell you what, we're not approving it, I think you're wrong, Mr. Attorney. Let me tell you why, We're not approving the audit. We're approving the draft, so that they can put it together and finalize it.
And still, you're taking a vote, you're taking official action.
All right, we've waited this long, we'll wait, we'll put it back on the agenda Thursday night, we'll do it right, thank you, appreciate you. All right, what else? Any other comments? I hope not. Mr. Johnson?
So moved.
You move it, and second by Mr. Flo, all in favor, say aye. Aye. We'll move back on it.
Hope I can stir up any more trouble for you.
Okay.